congratulations. 100 episodes, plus a whole bunch of extras.
I know. It's a big one.
100th numbered episode.
Yes. We have done a few bonus. We've made a few. There's been a few specials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're well over 100 actually, but
For the true civilians, these are the ones, the cardinals, the ones that matter.
the numbered ones.
These are the test matches. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Funny you should say that. Before we start, I have a quiz question for you.
Oh,
I just came up with this question before we get into the meat of the episode.
yeah.
I'm gonna name 9 cricketers for you, and I want you to tell me what they all have in common.
Okay.
Right? You will have heard of some of them, maybe not all of them, because I know you're not quite as diehard a cricketer fan as myself, perhaps. But you'll know most of them. Here we go. You ready?
Right.
Colin Cowdrey of England, Javed Miandad of Pakistan, Gordon Greenidge of the West Indies, Alex Stewart of England, Inzaman Ul-Haq of Pakistan, Ricky Ponting of Australia, who gets a special mention on this list, Graham Smith of South Africa, Hashim Amla of South Africa, and Joe Root, the current captain of the England team.
What have they got in common?
What have they got in common?
They're batsmen. Are all of them batsmen?
Yes, they are. Yes. That's actually a helpful deduction as well.
They all captained their country?
I'm just looking down the list. They probably... Yeah, I think if Hashim Amla may have captained once or twice. And I don't know if Gordon Greenidge ever captained the West Indies. He may not have, actually, unless he filled in once.
What else do they have in common? I don't know. They're in different eras. They didn't all play together, that's for sure. Joe Root's the only one still playing now. Is that fair enough?
I think Hashim Amla maybe just retired. I'm not sure. He may still be going. I'm not sure.
Our non-Commonwealth civilians are totally lost now. So you better get to the answer. I think I'm...
Let me give you a clue. It relates to this episode.
Okay, so 100, a century. They all have... Well, they've all scored centuries, obviously, but there must be something more specific than that.
Yes.
They scored a century of centuries? 100 hundreds?
No, that's not it. For people, for non-cricket people, an individual accomplishment that one can achieve in a game is scoring 100 runs in a single innings. That's a bit of a milestone. You know, it's a big deal to score a century in a single game. Can you think about what game they may have scored a century in?
In their 100th game?
Yes, they all scored a century in their 100th test match.
Wow.
So on the milestone of their 100th test match, they managed to also score a century individually. And I said Ricky Ponting was special on that list. Can you guess why?
He got a double century.
He scored 2 centuries. He scored a century in each innings of his 100th test. Joe Root is the only person on that list who scored a double century, over 200 in an individual innings in their 100th test. He scored 218.
There you go.
100 in your 100th test for our 100th episode.
How did you manage to sneak all that cricket trivia right up front in the episode? That's sneaky. There we go.
I just want to make sure absolutely no one's listening before we get started properly.
It's funny, I had a quiz question for you too, which relates to this episode. I'm going to mention 9 Nick Cave songs, and I want you to tell me what they have in common.
So let's get down to it. Let's get down to our 100th episode, because it was Tim who's come up with an idea of what we're going to do for our 100th episode. So Tim, do you want to share it?
Well, I was trying to think of an idea related to a century because it's a very special accomplishment. And so my idea is really to, in some ways, summarise many of the things may have been mentioned before, but essentially to lay out for everyone between us 100 magnificent things, 100 of our favourite things, 100 of the best things in the world. And people can use this as a kind of a catalogue to peruse a more exciting additions to their life. You know, they can use it to pick and choose the things.
To be more Tim and Brady.
That's right. That's right. So maybe for this episode you'd like to dress up as Tim and Brady.
Nice.
grow a beard. We've both got in fact, we've both had haircuts, I think, for this episode. Is that right?
Indeed, we both had one. I had one yesterday. You had one today. So we're both just looking great.
Oh yeah, my haircut is about 2 hours old now, and it's looking good. They say the difference between a bad haircut and a good haircut is about 2 hours. Just settles in, grows back nicely.
Bedded in, yeah.
But she gave me a little bit of a when you get a haircut, do you get them to do any beard work as well, or do you handle all that yourself?
I used to, but because you have to wear masks at the moment when you have haircuts, it sort of seems to be an option that's been taken off the table.
Well, my hairdresser wears a mask, but I didn't have to wear a mask today.
No. Well, you're in Australia. You guys are just cowboys when it comes to COVID.
We are all vaccinated, though, I must say, and there were all the other precautions in place. I hope I'm not getting my hairdresser in trouble. Anyway.
So Tim and I have each listed 50 things, so it will be a combined 100. We have not seen each other's lists, so there could be and may well be duplication. I just forgot something. I just remembered one I wanted to put on my list. What am I going to cross off instead?
So you're having to cross something off. What I've done is I've left two strategic spaces empty. Number 49 and number 50 are empty because I know that I will think of something while we're going through. And I'm not allowed to steal it from you, by the way. I know I'll think of something. It'll come to me and I want to have room to fill them in. But you're having to make room. Are you going to tell us? You want to tell us now what you've cut off, or maybe at the end you want to tell us what's lost out?
No, that's cheating because that's a way of getting in all the things you didn't get in. Like that's like something you'd do, have like reserves and runners up. You've got to be harsh. You've got to stop. You've got 50 here. I've got 50.
Maybe for the stakeholders there can be a bonus episode with 50 other things each that we've crossed off to allow these 50.
Yeah. Now, Tim, I'm just going to warn you from the start. 100 things. If we talked about each one for a minute, that's over an hour and a half. So, just be warned.
Well, for those people that use our podcast to go to sleep, they're rubbing their heads together going, you've got a good one. Download this one and keep it on the phone, folks.
They fell asleep when I was talking about cricket hundreds.
They're getting total value. Oh, absolutely. We will speed through these pretty quickly. This will be a fast list.
Yeah, right. You go first. And we'll do a little bell if there's any duplication.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, so here we go. Number 1, coffee. I love coffee.
Yeah.
Now, this is pretty obvious, but I've gone with, you've got to get the low-hanging fruit early. Absolutely love coffee.
Coffee is not on my list, I can assure you.
I didn't hear a ding, no.
No, all right. Coffee. I expected that to be on your list. Actually, I'm not even surprised it's the first one you named.
There is a YouTube clip, I know, on YouTube, surprisingly enough, where there is a YouTube clip where you've drank coffee for the first time, I know.
I did. Someone had me drink it. A friend had me drink it because they just wanted to for curiosity and they filmed it. And that seems to be the YouTube video that I get asked about more than any other. So,
right. Is it the last time you drank coffee? You haven't gone back to it?
It is the last time I drank coffee, yes.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Gosh.
Here's the first one on my list. Hot dogs.
Nice. I nearly put it on my list and I love
hot dogs.
I thought there was enough food on it already and I thought I've got to diversify a little bit.
I know, last night I was getting my wife to help me think of things for my list and she said she listed five or six things and then she said, and about 1 billion different foods. So I've tried to not go too food heavy. All right. What do you got next?
Iced coffee.
I was going to ask if that was included in coffee, but that's a separate thing, isn't it? You're not just going to do 50 different types of coffee, are you?
No, it's only the first dozen or so. Specifically Farmers Union iced coffee. I love iced coffee. I have to say, I was put onto coffee very early from my dad. When I was young, I was making coffee, given coffees, and he drank iced coffees. So that I've just had them forever. Never really got into Coke and those things as much, but iced coffees, feels like a default drink to me, and I drink too much of it.
It's a classic. Have you got one with you now?
No. I got a cup of tea. So that's...
All right. My next one is fighter jets. Like military fighter jets. like in Top Gun and stuff like that. I love fighter jets. And where I live, occasionally you'll see one go flying past in the distance because they're doing like certain tests and stuff. And when you see an actual fighter jet in real life with your eyes and you hear it, oh yeah, what's
They're
better
so
than a fighter
loud.
jet?
Oh, it's phenomenal loud.
So fast, they're awesome. I feel the need for speed. Fighter jets.
Number 3, the colour British racing green. I love the colour British racing green. It's my favourite colour. You get asked your favourite colour a lot when you have kids, and yeah, British racing green. It's just beautiful. It looks old and looks deep and coloured and rich and eternal, and
It's class. Next for me, showers.
yes. In fact,
Like-
let me just check my list. Hang on. I thought of that, and I don't know if I added it or not. No, I didn't. I thought of it in the shower, so I didn't write it down, but nice.
I love having it. I love showers. I'm notorious for having very long showers. I love it when you go to like a spa type place and they have all different like exotic kinds of showers, different kinds of showers.
Yeah.
I love going to a hotel if it's got a really posh shower. Oh, I love showers.
Oh, no, there it is. Ding, ding.
All right. It is on
It
Tim's
is.
list too.
It made the list.
You can talk more about showers when we get to it on your list as well then.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
Number 4, typewriters. I collect typewriters. We've talked about this before. I love old typewriters, particularly 60s, 50s, 60s typewriters.
All right. Well, suitably, my next one is also something kind of mechanical from that kind of world most of the time. Watches.
Yes.
I love watches.
You have a lovely collection of watches.
Yes.
Do you have a favourite?
My favourite is probably my Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch.
Oh, yeah.
I also do love the old Casio calculator watch.
They've made a bit of a renaissance lately, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've
Yep.
had a comeback.
All right. What you got?
Achtung Baby.
Great album.
This is my favourite album. Yep.
Great album.
It's a U2 album, came out in 1991, so it's 30 years old this year.
Yep.
In fact, this month. And it's my favourite album. I've been listening to this album over and over. It's got lots of different sonic sounds. It's got good songs. And it's just continually stays with me. A beautiful album. Achtung Baby.
All right. I'm gonna cause you great heartache here. Choose your favourite song from it. Only one.
I reckon my favourite song is Ultraviolet Light My Way, which is, I think, the third last song. And it's a real favourite. It's probably, like with these albums that you've been listening to for 30 years, it's the singles wear out, and then there's other songs that are favourites, and then other songs come to the fore. And I reckon Ultraviolet Light My Way, it's probably the one that's most earwormish for me. I'll just be singing it, but I'll always feel like it when it comes on, and it's a good song.
Next for me, mint slice biscuits. Arnott's mint slice biscuits, an Australian delicacy.
Back straight into the food.
Yeah. Most people would go for the Tim Tam, but I think that's a bit cliched, and I think the mint slice is a superior biscuit. This is a chocolate biscuit with a mint filling. Oh, love the velvety mint slice.
I concur. Tim Tam's missing a bit of mint. I think it's too chocolatey. It needs that extra kick.
It's too biscuity. The Tim Tam's got too much biscuitiness in it.
Yeah. No, nice call. Nice call. Also one that you can eat in creative ways when you're a kid. You know, you put it in sideways and up to, get the bits off in different ways. Anyway, I won't get sidetracked. My unusual eating habits. You can eat it standing on your head. You can... big edit coming up here on this episode, man. Okay, my number 6, the Richmond Football Club, the Richmond Tigers. I have a scarf and a beanie from the 80s, the Richmond Tigers, and they were losers all the way along.
Yeah.
My cousin departed them to become a Hawthorn supporter. Hawthorn won 5 premierships, and he thought he made a great decision, and I, in some ways, you kind of like... envied that. Oh gosh, if I'd changed early enough and all the rest of it, but you sort of stay with the Tigers, and then they came through in 2017 and won a premiership, and they've won 3 now, and
Good on you. You're a true believer. You did it feels to me a little bit like you did jump on the Adelaide Crows bandwagon for a while, but you kind of had to because you lived in Adelaide and everyone did. But you did always hold that candle for Richmond, and you were a true believer, and it's paid off. So kudos to you.
It was. I tell you what was difficult about being a Richmond supporter in the 80s is we only had like 1 or 2 football games broadcast a week into the country, and of course it was never Richmond because it wasn't the big match because they wouldn't win. See, I actually grew up sort of not really seeing a lot of them. And then we come to Adelaide, and so you can actually go to the footy all the time. And you know what I mean? So it's sort of there in a memory and in books and in magazines and footy records and things like that. Yeah. So anyway, the Richmond Football Club.
Next for me, the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yes.
I love the Eiffel Tower, and it represents a lot of the things I like, tall engineering structures, history, foreign countries. It's beautiful, it's iconic, it just represents lots and lots of things that I like and find interesting.
I think it's a perfect design. I think it's just so elegant and beautiful, isn't it? It's wide base and where the proportions of the platforms are and the spacing, it feels like perfect design, doesn't it?
Okay.
Look it up, people, if you're not familiar with the Eiffel Tower. Google it. You won't be disappointed. Introducing you to some of the greats here, mint slices and the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to go number 7 is Rummy King.
Right.
Or sometimes it's called Rummy Cub. This was a board game. It's played with a bit like dominoes. There's tiles, and I won't explain the whole game, but it's a really enjoyable game. And my parents played it all the time, and I played it a lot. So it's kind of interwoven with memories and things, but many other things drop away. And I just have to say I actually enjoy playing it. Yep.
I'm going to go for meteorites. These are bits of stone that have made their way to the surface of the Earth from space.
Meteorites?
Yeah, and I just think that they're like these magical things, these serendipitous stones that have made it from who knows where in space all the way to the surface of the Earth. They've gone on an amazing journey, and now they're sitting in a museum or on a shelf or on someone's mantelpiece. Pieces of space rock that made it to Earth.
So a meteor is one that burns up, is that right? But a meteorite makes it all the way.
Meteorite, it becomes a meteorite if it makes it to the surface intact.
Interesting. I would have thought it was the other way around, but no. As always, you're just pipping me on the science stuff there. Speculas. These are a Dutch biscuit. They're very commonly available. You get them in supermarkets everywhere, but they're a very cinnamon-flavoured Dutch biscuit, speculas. And one of those with a coffee is heaven.
All right. I'm going to go for music videos by the band OK Go. They make unbelievable music videos. I love them. So many, too many to even name, but I'll put some in the show notes. They're famous for making music videos that are usually one take, and they usually do something really remarkable, and you think, I can't believe they managed to do that in one take. They really, really push the boat out. If you have not seen the music videos by OK Go, do yourself a favour. They're extraordinary. I quite like their music, but, I probably wouldn't have known much about their music if it wasn't for their remarkable videos.
Nice. Good stuff. I have to read this one. The Uniball Vision Elite Pen. Now, I'm a reasonably recent convert to this particular pen. I have for many years been using a Lamy pen, which is sort of like a German branded pen. And they kind of look cool, but I tried this pen because Barack Obama made it known that this is the pen that he wrote his recent memoir in longhand. And I thought, man, if he can write a book longhand with a particular pen and like it, it's got to flow well. So I bought a few, and I've become totally addicted. The flow and the ease and the ink distribution and injection, and I'm a whole new calligrapher now with my Uniball Vision Elite pen. I love them.
Hashtag not an ad.
Not an ad. Although, if Mrs. Uniball, if you're out there and you would like to send me some, feel free to do it, because they're not cheap, but they are quality and they do last a little while. Do you have a favourite pen, or do you?
The Bic 4 colour.
Oh, yes,
always
of course.
The Bic 4 colour. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, next on my list, train tracks. I love the look of train tracks. When I was young and rarely got to see them, just seeing train tracks was exciting. Walking across a train track was amazing. I love train sets. I love train maps and networks of train tracks and rail lines and things like that. But just in general, I just love the look of train tracks. I love pulling into an English railway station and there's like 30 train tracks all branched out to different platforms. There's just something exciting, though, just about looking at a pair of train tracks, even if there's no train there. There's just something about train tracks that just makes me happy. And they also kind of represent all the effort and labour, the precision of laying them. Everything about train tracks is wonderful.
Everything about train tracks is wonderful. That's great. You know, in Adelaide, how the Stobie poles, our lamp posts, are actually made out of train tracks. Did you know that?
I think I did, but I may have forgotten. Stobie poles, they're like the lamp posts, the electric cable carrying posts of Adelaide are quite distinctive. Stobie poles, they're quite famous. Well, famous to Adelaideans. They're like two railway tracks with concrete between them. They're very weird looking when you think about it.
They are hideous as posts, but they are wonderful when they're on the ground with a bit of lumber underneath them and a train on top. Nice work.
Stobie poles are also an excellent way to make sure there's absolutely no chance whatsoever that you will survive a car accident.
All right, my next one is pretty predictable. We had to get it at some stage, but I have to tell the truth. I love KFC. I don't know if people have picked that up yet. I mean, I know I've kept it under wraps, but it's just true. It's just true. It's still true. Even though we joke about it, I have to say I do love KFC.
When did you last have KFC?
I can't remember. A few weeks ago.
It was lunch, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. There was a tempting moment tonight because tonight it was like the family was heading off to a pre-arranged event and I had to, get dinner for myself before coming to do this. So there was that little moment of freedom where it was like, ooh, hello. But no.
No, went to McDonald's instead.
Yeah, I got a burger from Grilled.
All right. The next for me, I've kind of kept this one broad so that I could capture a few different things into it. Next for me is accounts of disasters.
Okay.
For me, that started with books. When I was young, I would read books that would be all about, the Titanic sinking and the Hindenburg and bridges that collapsed. And then later in life, I got quite into TV shows like Air Crash Investigation because I'm really interested in plane crashes. And more recently, I quite enjoy Wikipedia articles on things like, 9/11 and stuff like that. But I really enjoy reading detailed descriptions of terrible events. I'm not happy that terrible events happen, but they do happen. And I find it very gripping to read about them for some reason.
No, that's it. That's it. The countless documentaries means that you're not alone there. You need not be ashamed of your macabre fascination.
No. Yeah, moments from disaster and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, accounts of disasters. I do find them gripping.
Dogs. I love dogs.
Ding! I've got dogs as well. Of course.
Dogs are so obviously superior to cats that I can't believe that people even... I know there are lots of animals in the animal kingdom, but I feel like they're the two that are sort of competing. You know what I mean? They're on the same level. Yeah. And dogs are clearly the winners. Dogs are wonderful. I know people love cats, and I have good friends that are cat people, and I still keep them as friends, and I know they love their cats, but I just don't know why they don't get a dog.
I like cats too. I've had a cat when I was younger. I like cats. I'll stroke a cat and cuddle a cat, but dogs are clearly superior. I also don't know. The only reason I nearly didn't put dogs on my list was because I was going to break it into breeds and have a few different breeds of dogs. But in the end, I just went for dogs overall. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Dogs are the best people.
Next on my list, telescopes. And I'm going all types of telescopes here. Small ones, handheld ones, all the way through to huge industrial, huge ones that you have on top of mountains in Hawaii and stuff like that. I just love telescopes. I love the design of them. I love the way they work. Obviously, I love what they do, the purpose of them. Everything about telescopes is just awesome. And also just, it's a really good example of a way that humans changed the way they looked at the universe. For the longest time, we just looked at the sky and saw these sparkling lights. And as soon as we started making telescopes, things like the moons of Jupiter, Saturn's rings came into view. And then as we got more and more powerful, we started seeing other galaxies deeper and deeper into the universe. They're a really important thing as well. Telescopes, thumbs up from me.
Is the science world spread into two categories, two types of person, like telescope people and microscope people?
No.
Have games and they play sport against each other and compete over which is the best?
Not that I'm aware of. All right. What do you got?
Tulips. I love tulips. I'm not a big flower person, but I admire a tulip. And of course, it has some other connections as well. But mainly probably because we had them around the house a lot. Dad was forever growing tulips and had bulbs everywhere and all that kind of stuff at home.
Why was your dad into tulips?
He may have been Dutch.
Yep. All right. Tulips. I don't remember ever seeing tulips at your house. I was just thinking about your back garden yesterday because your dad had quite an extensive back garden and I know he was quite into gardening. And I reckon I must have visited your house maybe 200 times in my life. 250 might be a fair guess.
Yeah.
I reckon I went into the back garden of your house twice. I remember probably the 100th time I visited, I went out the back garden. I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea there was such a big garden out here.
Well, I guess there wasn't the sort of garden where we had anything to do. There wasn't room to play like backyard cricket or anything.
No, no reason to go there. Yeah.
No. It's not like we went gardening together or something.
Yeah. We just watched TV.
That's right. Yeah. Most of it, I'm thinking about when we were in Terrelga when I was a young kid and Dad did some serious gardening. He was a younger man. He sort of more potted around in those latter years.
Okay.
But yeah, there's still nice, flowers and bits and pieces around.
Next for me, swimming pools. And I like all kinds of swimming pools. I like a good infinity pool. I like just a normal lap pool. I like when you watch TV shows about like millionaire houses and they have all those really amazing exotic pools that wrap around their house and do all kinds of stuff. And I love a nice pool that's embedded into a garden with a little waterfall maybe and gardens sort of almost spilling down into it with a nice stone surround. I love a nice backyard pool that's done creatively. Swimming pools. And I love swimming. I love being in swimming pools.
The unmistakable sound of a swimming pool in the yard next door is very recognisable, isn't it?
What with people swimming in it and playing in it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the sound of people in a pool has a really distinctive sound.
Yeah.
My next is rum and raisin ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know hardcore listeners would be saying, well, hang on, what about boysenberry? Because they're the two favourites. But I've weighed them up and I went with rum and raisin as my favourite.
Okay.
Maybe because the texture. I think there's some variety in the texture of the raisins that are in there. The taste. I don't feel I need to justify it anymore. I think rum and raisin can stand alone.
Well, likewise, next on my list is the McDonald's cheeseburger. Now, I know you thought I may have gone for the quarter pounder, but I think as my taste has refined over the years, I've grown to appreciate the simplicity and scaled backness of the cheeseburger over the quarter pounder. So I'm going the McDonald's cheeseburger.
Your taste has refined back to something that was designed for the Happy Meal for kids. I
like the more stripped back, uncomplicated. Like I'll just have 2 cheeseburgers instead of a quarter pounder these days.
Yes, I do. I always associate you with the cheeseburger, I have to say. Even though you introduced me to the quarter pounder, I do associate you with your love of the cheeseburger. Absolutely no vegetable whatsoever. That's your position. It's just
You do? Do you not get pickles on a cheeseburger? I can't remember.
Oh, a couple of token pickers. Didn't you used to take them out though, and hand them to me or something like?
No, I could handle the pickles. I don't mind a pickle.
All right, your body's just craving that nutrition.
Yeah, anything. We'll even take a pickle at this point. I think at this point, we should thank today's episode sponsor, Tim. Another of the great 100 things in the world. That is Storyblocks.
Yes, Storyblocks. My favourite. If I was making a list of 100 favourite film, audio and sound repositories, I have to say Storyblocks would be, well, the only one.
It would be 1 to 100.
That's right, 1 to 100. Well said. Yes.
Go to storyblocks.com/unmade, people, to check out this demand-driven library of royalty-free 4K and HD footage, After Effects and Premiere Pro templates, music, images, sound effects, and much, much more. They've got subscriptions that will fit any budget, including the one I have, which is their unlimited all access, which gives me absolute carte blanche to download everything I want for all my podcasts and videos and other creations. If you're a creative person, if you're just a person, I think it's well worth having a Storyblocks subscription. Go to storyblocks.com/unmade. What should we look up that we've had so far on our top 100 list on Storyblocks, Tim? What do you want to have a look for?
Ooh, tulips? Many people may not know what a tulip looks like.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to go to Storyblocks this very moment. And I'm going to have a look. Let's go video. We could go images, but I'm going to go video. Here we go. Tulips in the search bar. Oh, Tim. Oh.
Oh, should I go and have a look too?
I have to say,
Yeah.
they have a very, very impressive collection of tulips. Close-ups of the petals, drone shots of huge fields of tulips. If I was making Tulips the movie and I needed impressive shots of tulips, Storyblocks would be absolutely delivering the goods.
Oh, yeah, look at this. Oh, that's huge.
Oh, there's like a woman in traditional Dutch dress walking through a tulip field. I'll put some of this on the video version of this episode. Storyblocks, you spoil us.
I'm overwhelmed. Tulips.
Yeah.
Storybox has bought us flowers.
Seriously, I'm not even joking. I was expecting maybe 15 to 16. I'm on like the third page of videos and there's still load more. Someone at Storyblocks really likes tulips.
You have to think, if they've got this much on tulips, what else do they have on everything else?
Incredible. I would go so far as to say I'm beginning to think tulips is somewhat of a specialisation of Storyblocks. I don't know. This is kind of crazy. Anyway, storyblocks.com/unmade. Whatever you need. It could be sound effects for a science fiction podcast you're making. It could be graphics for graphic design on a newsletter for your local church. It could be videos of tulips. In fact, if it's videos of tulips, you're in luck. Whatever you need, Storyblocks. And thank you to them for being such a great sponsor of our podcast. Who are we up to? It's you. What have you got next on your list?
The next on my list is I was looking through different categories of things around the house and walking around, and I got to the wine rack. So I've gone with Bethany Shiraz, which is my favourite wine. It's a South Australian wine from the Barossa Valley, place called Bethany, and it's a Shiraz by Bethany Shiraz. It's beautiful. It may be available in different parts of the world, but it's my favourite wine.
Next on my list, clouds.
Clouds?
I love clouds. They can be beautiful, fluffy things. They can be different shapes. When you're young and you've never been in a plane, you just wonder what it would feel like to touch a cloud or be in a cloud. When you eventually do start flying above clouds and through clouds, that can be quite exciting. And they make the otherwise boring sky interesting. Because if the sky is just blue every day, it's just a bit boring. And then you suddenly see clouds come and doing things, and they just add variety.
No, I reckon they're a bit of a letdown, because when I was a kid and we flew overseas, looking down, I thought they were snow. And then Mum explained, no, that's just clouds. And if you sat on them, you'd fall straight through them. And ever since then, I've always thought, oh, clouds, not quite as substantial as you thought they were. You know, they're just a bit vaporish.
True, they do lack its substance.
They look cuddly, but they're not. They're just pretend cuddly.
They're interesting. I love filming time lapses of clouds. I'm watching. I love them. I love clouds. I don't like it when it's just a sheet of grey sky, like it is today in England. But I like it when they're like, they're individual clouds.
Every now and then they can look like bunny rabbits, I guess. Okay, how long have we been going? 40 minutes ago.
I reckon we might split this into 2 episodes.
I reckon it might be 3 or 4 episodes. Uluru.
Ding!
Oh,
On my list as well. Ooh. Go on then.
Uluru is a beautiful big rock, formerly known as Ayers Rock, in the middle of Australia. One of the most, it's probably the defining natural beauty, natural phenomenon in Australia, isn't it? The most famous. It's a rock that's so massive, it's like 12 kilometres to walk around, incredibly high, in the middle of the flat desert. Absolutely stunning.
I agree. I'll do it I'll talk about it when I come to it as well. Fantastic. Great Barrier Reef maybe would compete with it, but I think Uluru is top of the list for Australia's natural icon. Good call.
Natural wonders, that's the word I was looking for. Wonders. It's a wonder.
Because the big rocking horse being man-made, of course, doesn't count in that list.
No.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it surely would have been in that place.
Yeah. I think number 3, natural wonders, it probably goes Uluru, Great Barrier Reef, the Bump at Victor Harbour. All right. Next on my list, the Godfather movies.
I thought about this. So it's a dong. It's not a ding, but yeah.
Every time I go on a plane and I look at all the different movies I could watch, all the new releases, all the things that are on the plane entertainment system, invariably I always go, nah, crack out the iPad and watch either The Godfather or The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Sometimes even The Godfather Part 3 if I've watched the other two too recently. I know some people don't like talking about the third one. I don't think the third one's as bad as everyone says, but 1 and 2 clearly are the better ones.
Yes.
And they are both magnificent movies, and I will watch them every time I go on a long-haul flight. I will watch at least one of them.
That's saying a lot. That's incredible staying power for a film, isn't it, really? Gosh, that really is. That's a big endorsement. Big endorsement. Next up for me is the song Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher and Higher, which I've decided is my favourite song.
All right, you can have it. I'm surprised. I don't like it that much. It's all right, but it wouldn't be in my top 500 songs.
Well, that's what we're doing next week. So you've let that cat out of the bag. I love it. I don't know why I love it so much. I do. It's something to do with the joy, the beat. I have to say, and this is a rare occasion, I love the cover of it more than the original. The original's by Jackie Wilson. The cover is by an Australian artist called Jimmy Barnes. And I'd never thought I'd ever say a Jimmy Barnes song was my favourite song, but he covers this song in a particular way. In a particular way, the riff is played on his Soul Deep album. I never get sick of it. I love it. And it lurches forward again and again, and it's a blissfully happy. It gives me joy. Gives me joy. So there we go.
All right. Next on my list, dinosaurs.
Oh, wow.
How can you not love dinosaurs? Whether it's fossils, whether it's recreated ones in Jurassic Park, whether it's books about them, whether it's toys, dinosaurs.
Do you have a favourite dinosaur?
Oh, I do like the Triceratops. I do like the T-Rex, It's a bit of a cliche, but pretty awesome with his big oversized head.
Don't you think the T-Rex has funny little hands?
Yeah, true, but yeah. I wouldn't be thinking that if I was sitting on the toilet and it was about to eat me like in Jurassic Park. Ooh, look at your little hands.
Look at your little hands.
Yeah, all right.
I would be thinking that if he was sitting on the toilet and he couldn't reach his bum because of his little hands.
That is a problem for T-Rexes. Do you have a favourite dinosaur? Were you into dinosaurs as a kid or anything?
Yeah, lots and lots of pictures.
Not other than your dad. Do you ask Dad what the dinosaurs were like?
Every time Dad walked into the room, we'd hear this, na 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 na. I think I like the Triceratops. Yeah, I think they just have a good look about them. There was also the dinosaur transformers. I forget what they were called. So they were around a little bit.
There was that TV show Dinosaurs, where those dinosaurs that flew around in flying saucers. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Dinosaurs.
They were called dinosaurs.
Oh, golly, no, I have no knowledge of that. So apart from flying... So we don't love them in their own right. We love them for the fact that cool toys were made out of them.
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it. But the spell that dinosaurs hold over youngsters is something to behold.
They're a real coup for science, aren't they? Like, they're a way of getting kids really excited about learning about the natural world and so forth.
Yeah.
I have a book, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis.
All right.
I had to put this in there. I was thinking, what's probably my favourite book? And it's this book by C.S. Lewis called Mere Christianity, where he explains about the Christian faith. And I'm a minister, so obviously I'm a Christian. And he does it in such a brilliant way. It was so defining for me as a young person, a teenager, or I think my late teens I read it. And it just blew my mind and filled in lots of blanks for me and in my thinking and all that kind of stuff. Lots of gaps, I should say. And it resonates still, and it's a piece of genius writing. And it's so pithy and eloquent. I love Mere Christianity.
My godmother, may she rest in peace, was a magnificent woman named Olive, and she took her role of godmother quite seriously in terms of sort of a pastoral guidance care role. So whenever I moved to a new city, she would email me and let me know a few churches that were nearby that she'd been researching that she thought I could pay a visit to. And she sent me a copy of Mere Christianity because she thought it was a really good book for me to read. And I did read it. And, I can't really remember much about it, but I do remember thinking, this is a well-written book.
50 years old, genius.
Next on my list is a cold can of fizzy drink. It could be fizzy water, it could be Coke Zero, which is my fizzy drink of choice these days, or something like that. But a cold fizzy drink is magnificent, hitting the back of your throat, but especially from a can, a metal can. I love a cold can of fizzy drink. Yeah.
See, I'm not really into the fizzy drinks in the same way. I'd rather an iced coffee. But here at the church, where my office is and I'm working during the week, we have this big industrial fridge, and there's just a few slabs of soft drink in there for the youth group. So like all the young people, there's like a whole variety of them. So they're always there. So often at lunch, and I'll be looking, and I'll get looking in the fridge for something else, and then I'll look down and I'll go, and I'll be wooed into them in a way that I would never be at the shops, just because they're there and available. And I've been drinking more of them more recently, I have to say.
And are you allowed to just take whatever you want because you're like the boss of the church, so you can just take one?
Well, they're kind of there for everyone to take them whenever they want them. We just kind of have them there for everyone.
Nice.
But yes, especially me, yes.
Yep.
Like if there was a lemonade left and a creamy soda and, me and someone else was there, I'd probably have a higher right to the creamy soda. I mean, I'd lay it down for the other person and give it to them because I'm a good Christian. But, honestly speaking, I would have a greater claim to it.
Could you just wave your hand over it and then claim that they're holy soft drinks? Like, could you bless them up?
I can't do that because that would change them into wine, and then that would be a whole other deal.
I was actually listening to the song I Would Do Anything for Love the other day, and there's that line saying, will you hose me down with holy water if I get too hot? And I was thinking about the extravagance, right, of hosing someone down with holy water. And then it occurred to me, how much water can be made holy in one go? Like, could you go to the ocean and just say, if you were like, a priest or something, and just wave your hand and bless this ocean, and then all of the ocean would be holy water? Or is that too much water to make holy in one go? Or would you fail, and then Yoda would say, that's why you failed, because you thought it was too much water, but you could have done it all? Like, how much water can be made holy in one sitting? You're the best person to ask.
I'm not the best person to ask. The idea of holy water is attached to the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church. And I'm a Protestant. All water is holy because it's all made by God and it's free and it sustains us and makes the world work. There's no special holy water in my book.
If you were Catholic, how much water can a Catholic priest make holy in one go? Do you think there's a limit?
I have no idea, but I think they do it for, like, if it's, I'm going to speak ignorance into offense here if I try and say any more.
This is the Unmade podcast. All we do is speak ignorance.
All right, I'm going to say 4 litres. Anything more than that, it is Catholic's in real trouble.
Do Catholic churches have to have their water made holy on site by the resident priest, or can they buy it? Is there like a San Pellegrino factory where they just like holy it all and mass produce it and then put it in bottles, and you can buy it already holy to put in your holy water receptacles?
I don't know.
A lot of questions
I don't
about
know.
holy water. You're obviously not. I need to ask someone else. I've got lots of questions. What do you got next on your list?
Blackadder. Blackadder is a TV show, comedy, Rowan Atkinson, written by Richard Curtis and Ben Elton. I think probably the funniest show ever made, particularly seasons 2, 3 and 4. Particularly 3 and 4. Absolutely hilarious. Golden, holds up. And I love Blackadder.
I like Blackadder season 2. Blackadder second is my favourite. But yeah. The war, is the war one, World War II, that's the 4th, isn't it? That's good too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like 1 and 3 as much. 3 has its moments though.
Yeah, one is rubbish. They changed the whole premise after 1, so it's really a bit of a false start. 2, 3 and 4 are just some of the funniest television ever.
All right, next I'm going to go stamps and postcards and other kind of mail paraphernalia. I don't collect stamps. I do collect some postcards and things like that, but I love if I'm going to an old market and they've got a stall that's full of old stamps and old postcards and things like that. I will easily spend an hour just going through that stuff. I love all that old material. I just love the idea of it. I should collect it because I love it so much, but I've got enough vices and things that sap my time without becoming a stamp collector. But I love stamps and postcards and old stuff like that. I even love modern stamps. I even love the actual stamps I buy now with the Queen's head on it and put them on the things that I send to patrons. I just love stamps, and I've got all my own stickers and other stamps and things that I put on the envelopes. I just love the whole idea of envelopes and stamps and postage and stuff like that. It's just wonderful.
It is satisfying getting it all ready and then putting aside ready to mail, isn't it? Yeah. It's ready to go.
Putting on the airmail stickers, and then on the back I put special Unmade podcast stickers and stuff like that as well, and extra stamps and labels, and I love all that stuff. Love it.
No wonder you've got your VIP lane down at the post office.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
This is where I attempt to be Brady and try and remember, is it a philologist, the stamp collector?
No, it's philatic. Philologist is actually study of languages and that. It's philat something. All right, let's look it up. You're right, I should have used that word. I was avoiding that word because I didn't know it either. But I know philology is a language thing. Philately.
Philately. Okay.
Yeah. Collection, appreciation and research of stamps and other philatelic products. Anyway, all that stuff.
Well, there we are, man. You can get into some flatulence.
Yeah. All right. What do you got?
I'm not 100% on this one, but it's there and I'll go with it because I've got a bit of room at the end. The Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, yeah. Ding, kind of. Will come to mind later on. I haven't got the Brooklyn Bridge, but that's close enough for me to give that a ding. But, yeah, go on. Brooklyn Bridge.
I think it's, again, a bit like the Eiffel Tower. It looks like the original article. It looks like a perfectly designed bridge. Its strength and height, it looks quintessential. I love where it is. It's often with the cityscape, obviously, of New York. I love that I've had some lovely memories walking across it and driving across it to get some great pizza and with the family. I love that the kids have signed it with Texter and stuff. And so we've got some lovely photos on it. But it just has that look about it that I really, really love. I love the documentary story about them going down and digging, just the conditions under which they built it and the era they built it. It's just quite staggering. Yeah, the Brooklyn Bridge. I rate it. I'm going to say I'm a bit disappointed by it. I also rarely find myself in that part of New York that I get to walk. I've walked across it once or twice and gone across it a few times, but I never really... It's kind of hard to get to on foot. And I don't know. It's sort of. I will often go to New York and not see it at all. And it's good. It's a good solid bridge. But I don't think it's as I don't think it's as striking and amazing as its reputation and name, because it's such a famous name. Yes, it is. I think its name's more famous than what it actually the reality of it. But it's a good solid bridge, and I can't deny you it. All right. Next on my list, koalas.
I love koalas.
That's a surprise.
I love them. Like, they're cute, they're cuddly, they're interesting. They never look exactly like what you expect them to look like. Their faces are smaller with smaller eyes than you think. You think of them having these big, cute, big eyes. But in fact, they don't. They have tiny eyes, koalas. But I don't know. I like how they're kind of stocky and muscly. They don't move how you expect them to move. Like when we saw that one walking on the road that time. You know, they're just, I like them. And, you know, I wanted something quintessentially Australian on my list like that as well. And I like koalas. I like koalas.
One of my earliest teddies was Sport Willie, who was sort of the representative toy for the Olympic team in, I think, 1984 or so.
Okay, right, yeah.
Did you have a Sport Willie?
I had a toy koala that was from the 1982 Commonwealth Games, and I still have it to this day. And there's an elaborate Harron family story that's associated with it, which I'll spare you at the moment. Save it for another day.
Maybe this is where that's from as well. I'm assuming it's 84 Olympics, but maybe it's the Commonwealth Games. He's long gone now, Sport Willie, but just my entire childhood there was this little koala sitting on my bed. So yes, he was in a little green and gold tracksuit.
Oh yeah, no, that's different to what my one was. Mine was from the 82 Commonwealth Games, which I think were held in Brisbane, weren't they?
Koalas, that's great. That's a surprise. I like that. I'm back onto food again. That didn't take long. Hot chips with mayonnaise. So hot chips are amazing. I mean, chips are universal. I think if there are chips on the table, we should all be eating them because they're just so magnificent and so apparently magnificent. They smell fantastic. They taste fantastic. They're very accessible. They're not an exclusive food. And I love eating them with mayonnaise. Hot chips with mayonnaise.
Do you like a thick chip with more fluffy potato or a thinner chip where there's a higher ratio of crunchy outsideness?
I like a thicker chip, but there needs to be, further in the bag, some crunchy ones, like some, you know what I mean, mixed in with the salt later on. If I never get one of those, I'll be disappointed, but I do like the thicker ones early on. You're more of a fry man, is that what you're saying?
I like the crunchy outside. I don't mind a thick chip as long as there's also a hefty crunchy outside. I don't like a big thick chip with a flimsy outside and it's just too potatoey.
Yeah, no. You don't want the potato does get in the way a bit of the chip. It's
yeah, exactly. It's a necessary evil.
By definition, yes. Oh, that's great.
Next on my list, lightsabers.
Nice.
What's better than a lightsaber? Like, what captured your imagination more than a laser sword with a cool high-tech metal handle and then an actual laser sword coming out of it that you could fight and have sword fights with? How was lightsabers not number one on both our lists?
They are a great invention. Yes, you're right. A laser sword.
Amazing.
It really is one of the core great things about Star Wars is that George Lucas didn't just go with cool guns. He actually took a step back and said, no, these Jedis will fight with swords, which is very a traditional thing to do, except they're sort of, laser swords. That's a genius little maneuver there.
Love them. What youngster didn't dream of having a lightsaber hang from their belt? The whole reason I wanted to have a belt was so I could hang a lightsaber from
it. Yes.
If you had a lightsaber, what colour would your blade be?
Green.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably the best choice. Racing green.
British racing.
A British racing green lightsaber.
This is why humans shouldn't become billionaires, right? Like if I was a billionaire, you and I were billionaires, we'd have like fighter jets that were British racing green. We'd be walking around with lightsabers that were British racing green, stuffing our mouth with chips. Like it would just be absolute indulgent horror story.
I'd spend my entire fortune on research and development of an actual working lightsaber. Forget all your Jeff Bezos and Musk trying to go to space. I just want a working lightsaber.
It's a weapon. You have no intention of using it as a weapon. You just want to hear the crackle and go, woohoo.
Yeah. Just out the back, smashing down all your trees. Love it.
Oh, dear.
Know what would happen if I had a lightsaber, though? I'd always forget to charge it, and it would have to zero charge.
Yeah, let's get a little USB port. That's right. Has anyone got a lightsaber charger? Formula One.
Yep.
I didn't hear a ding. You didn't have it on your list?
No, I deliberately didn't put it on my list. I'm a bit out of love with Formula One this week, so it didn't make my list this week. Another week it might have.
Okay. Yes. Well, I have to say, I mean, as you know, you've been a long-time lover. I am a more recent lover of Formula One, but I think about it all the time. I watched all the races for the last 2 weeks. 2 years, and I listened to a couple of podcasts on it, every week.
No, me too.
And I read up on it. So it's a real enjoyment. I would never have guessed it 2 years ago, but I really love Formula One. I have no interest in any other motorsport whatsoever. No interest whatsoever. Only on Formula One.
Next on my list, pillows. I love pillows.
Yeah.
I love when you go to a hotel and you get new. What are the pillows going to be like at this hotel? Oh, that's a big, nice pillow. Oh, that's a soft one. Oh, I like that silky pillow cover. Oh, a square one, a rectangular one, a round one. And I associate them with sleep, and I love sleep. I love pillows.
This is like an episode of Wholesome. All the things that we love. Just the most beautiful, wholesome, wonderful things. Here's another one. Bagpipes. I love bagpipes. I love the sound of bagpipes. Gives me chills. I find bagpipes inspiring. I find them so moving. Do you like bagpipes?
I find the sound of them rather grating. But in the right context, it's cool if you're at a royal castle or you're in Scotland or something on a Scottish hillside. And also...
as I often am.
And the design and look of bagpipes is interesting. They're clearly one of the more interesting looking musical instruments. How many musical instruments involve a cloth bag? Not many. So I will grant you that bagpipes are intriguing, but they're not on my list.
I would like to learn how to play the bagpipes. I would like to buy some bagpipes. I'm just making this decision now. I've just had a revelation. Why don't I play the bagpipes? Every morning I should come out of my apartment balcony and just blast the bagpipes out over Adelaide.
Lovely. Do it, man. Do it.
All right, hang on. I'm just going to write that. Buy bagpipes.
Cricket bowls. Obviously, I love the sport of cricket, and I nearly put cricket on the list, but instead I've just decided to put cricket bowls on there because I love holding and looking at a cricket bowl. They're really interesting, and if you've never held or looked at a cricket bowl, you should. They're really they're like from another time. They're made of red leather. They're 4 pieces of leather or 2 pieces of leather, depending on the kind of bowl. They've got cork and string in the middle of them. They're stitched together with white thread. They're an odd looking thing. It's amazing that there's a sport that uses this thing. I love a cricket bowl, and I also associate a cricket bowl like with the excitement of the cricket season, like the cricket bowl in the logo for the Channel 9 coverage they used to have and stuff like that. Just the sight of a cricket bowl quickens my pulse.
There's famously in Australia when the cricketers, they're sort of spitting and polishing one side of them so they curve when they bowl them, and then so they rub it down their leg, down their groin. So there's big red streak down the bowler's leg from the red.
Love it.
All right, push through a little bit. I've got Kilkenny. It's just my favourite beer. It's an Irish beer, a dark ale. I like Kilkenny.
All right. Next for me, skimming stones. Nice, flat, polished stones that you can skim across the sea.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't love finding a good skimmer on the beach going, oh, that's going to be a good skimmer, picking it up, throwing it out over the sea in expectation of 10, maybe 12 bounces, getting in reality maybe 3. Who doesn't love skimming stones?
Very satisfying. Very satisfying. What's the most amount of skims, bounces, plonks that you've had?
I reckon I've got up around 10 in my golden days, if there's a nice flat body of water.
That's going back a while. Nice work.
It's a bit like I once caught a fish this big saying I once got 10 skims.
That's right. Look, I've been fresh, thick bread.
Yeah.
This is from a wholesome episode. We know this. There's nothing more beautifully wholesome than cutting into some bread, but fresh, thick bread, the smell of it is intoxicating, the taste of it, particularly with a hard crust around the outside, the soft middle.
I like a good sourdough bread these days. I just went away this weekend to a place that did great sourdough. When it's a little bit warm still and you put the butter on that and the butter just lightly melts as you're spreading it on the sourdough bread. Whoa. Nice big air bubbles.
I have a friend who bakes his own and gave me some a while ago, and it was satisfying to cut into that and eat it. Beautiful stuff.
Nice. Next on my list is one that you've already done, dogs. I was going to specify maybe Chihuahuas and Greyhounds, my two favourite breeds, but I did just go for dogs. You know what I love about dogs as opposed to cats? Dogs are fallible. They make mistakes. They fall over, they trip over, they get lost, they get confused. Cats are just so composed and graceful and flawless, and it kind of pisses me off. I love that a dog's like me and it will just fall over and be a bit dumb.
Yes. Its failures are apparent to everyone. I know the cat's probably making mistakes, but they're all hidden and secret. But the dog everyone can see your mistakes. Look, I've got a one here, playing Mario Kart. I would never have thought a computer game was something, but playing Mario Kart, 4 billion times with my daughters over the past 12 months, I've fallen in love with it. And playing with them and joking about it is an absolute joy. So I've really, and it's not just the company of them, which is wonderful. I actually really love the game as well. I find it relaxing and we cruise around and I know how to drift and do all sorts of things. And so I really love the game of Mario Kart. I really like playing it.
That's a good game. I'll give you that. Next on my list, seaplanes. Planes that land on water. How cool are they? They're just... I have gone on them a lot now because you have to go on them a lot when you go to the Maldives. Otherwise, I rarely have a reason to go on them. But even if I'm not going on them, just the look of them, the one in Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff like that, water planes that take off and land on water. It just combines the best of aircraft and boats. They're awesome.
It is a bit of a miracle, isn't it? Yes. Genius. We've made something to fly. Well, what if it could land on water?
What craziness is this?
Gosh. Are we sure they exist, man? You've actually been in one, is that right?
I have.
We are sure they exist. They're not just a Spielberg trick.
So, Tim, that's 50 so far. We've each done 25. We're actually running a bit tight on time for this episode. Shall we do the next 50 very soon in another very soon episode?
Spread the 100 over 101.
Well, I think we're going to have to, because otherwise this episode's getting a bit out of control.
All right, fair enough.
So there's the first 50, and we'll be back very soon. We won't make you wait long for the next episode with the next 50.
God, there's some good stuff coming up on my next 50.
Really? Does yours? You think yours gets better, or it doesn't kind of just fade away?
No, it gets better. The gold, as I thought more about it, there was a lot of low-hanging fruit, some stuff we've mentioned before in the first 25 of my list, but I'm looking down, I'm going, yep, there's some love there.
Stay tuned. We'll be back very soon with part 2.